Different's great, but being different for the sake of being different, I'm not a big fan of, right? If you just want to be different for the sake
technology
of it. But
increased, I would hide behind it.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes.
Because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives you.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Master Connector Show. I'm your co-host, Rob Genovese, and I'm so glad you're joining us today, hopefully live. If you're seeing this live, you are doing the right thing because you want to be able to get in the comments. You want to be able to ask questions. You want to get your questions answered because that's the whole idea of going live, is that you can become a participant in what we're doing, ask questions, and interact with other audience members. And that's the whole idea behind the Master Connector Show, is we want you connecting with other people. And so listen, if you can't join us live, make sure you are at least going to masterconnector.show so you can see who's coming up and maybe bookmark your calendar for the person you need to hear from live. But of course, every episode will be replayed. It'll be on LinkedIn for a while. It also goes out onto YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the other places where you listen to good stuff. And listen, Steve and I, we go way back, about 28 years, and we were just talking backstage. And it's been a long time. So we have come a long way. We were two clueless guys, two former shy guys, two introverts trying to make their way in business, connecting with people, at least doing our best to in our most awkward way possible. We've come a long way. I was paralyzed with fear to speak. Steve probably was apprehensive at the worst, but, he had some skills to develop too. We both did. But today, Steve, you want to catch his TEDx talk. Steve just did a TEDx talk for the first time. Very proud of him because I know where he came from. Look, when you see somebody at the beginning and you see where they are now, a whole different world. So I want you to catch his TEDx talk, and I'm going to put that in the comments. But listen, the whole idea here, what Steve is doing is he's looking to connect with people. He's looking to connect with good people who are really on their way up, no matter what that is or no matter what level it is. You want to be on your way up, so that you can all, we heard this phrase a long time ago, a rising tide raises all ships, right? And so this is going to mean more to me than it does to a lot of you, because Steve now, polished speaker, author, business builder. The guy meets more people and connects more people than I've ever seen. But so we're going to do this. We're going to show you a little bit of an insight into Steve right now. So check this out.
Your sales team doesn't have a pipeline problem. They have a connection problem. Connection doesn't begin with charisma. It begins with care. I stayed silent, kept out of the fray, and then I asked one question. I said, guys, why are we focusing on the color of the logo? Shouldn't we be talking about what's in it for the consumer? That one quiet moment and question reframed the entire discussion.
Most sales professionals talk too much, pitch too early, and miss what actually matters.
Lead with listening. Ask one real meaningful question.
Steve is absolutely sensational as a speaker. He can engage your audience and he can educate your audience.
We don't chase attention. We observe, we notice, we feel when the room shifts. One meaningful conversation is better than 10 superficial ones.
Steve's message can help your team by building strategic relationships that drive growth and innovation.
Your quiet isn't something to overcome. It's your strength. It's your edge.
The future of sales doesn't belong to the loudest voice. It belongs to the ones who listen.
There he is. So, again, I see him now and I'm laughing because he tells a story during his TEDx talk that'll give you an idea of where he was and how far he's come. But listen, we're all connectors here. We want you connecting with each other, but there's only one master connector. So let's bring him on, Mr. Steve Spiro. What's up, Steve?
What's up, Rob? I appreciate you playing that video and all the kind words. And it has been a journey, that's for sure. And I was telling Sass backstage, just check out, if you haven't watched the TEDx, the urinal story. I'll say that, and it's crazy because it's just, unbelievable. But yeah, come a long way. Well, what's going on, everyone? Steve Spurrier, the Master Connector, coming at you live and direct. And I'm going to keep this short because I really want to hear Sass and have Rob bring her on. But listen, yeah, I was an introvert. We talk about energy. I was very reserved because you know what? I didn't believe I had value. And you talk about negativity. I just was negative about me. I wasn't necessarily negative about the world. I wasn't the negative nanny kind of guy. I remember my dad was always positive as a person, but I just didn't feel like I had value. And so I walked into the room. I kind of crawled into the room. I went to the corner. But today's very different. Obviously being called the Master Connector, and I like to start, as you heard, with that, what's going on, friends, Steve Spurrier, the Master Connector, because I'm bringing the energy, I'm bringing the positivity. And I think that's important. When you bring in any energy, it really kind of sets the tone. And I heard once, and Rob heard it too, probably one time, you don't want to be a thermometer, which is reading the temperature of the room per se. You want to actually be the thermostat and control the temperature of the room and bring that energy, bring the right attitude and mindset. So we're going to have a blast. Excited to have you meet our incredible guest. She's been patient, but we're excited to have her on here. But if you're ready for us to introduce her, put in the comments. Let's go. Robbie G, I'll pass to you, buddy.
All right, technical difficulties. So, all right, let's go. Sass Schaeffer is the founder of Team Positive, a movement built around lifestyle, community, and live events that prove positivity isn't a personality trait, it's a practice. Based in St. Petersburg, Florida, Sass brings people together through events, gear, and a no-fluff approach to living with more energy and intention. She's not here to tell you to think happy thoughts. She's here to train you for the happy, healthy, connected life you actually want. Please welcome to the show, Sass Schaeffer. What's up, Sass?
Hey there. So happy to be here today. Great intro. Already feeling the energy and can't wait to get started.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you on here. And speaking of which, we've got Sam on here with us, Mr. Russ Hedge, who's a proud sponsor of some of our episodes. Keem is on here I believe he's from Africa. And then we've got Sarah on here, and Antonio, good friend. I reconnected with him recently. So great to have you all in here. Make sure you get in the comments and connect with each other. Very important. This is the Master Connector Show. It's all about connection. But Sarah, Sass, amazing having you on here. Excited to dig into this for sure. So let's get this going with the first question. So we talked about energy. It's all about that. The minute you came on, I could feel your energy. So here's the question. How does someone intentionally change the energy they bring into every room?
Yeah, I love this. And you set me up perfectly for this, Steve, with your thermostat thermometer, right? So often I think we talk about energy and we think, well, I had a good day, or, right, we let the external circumstances decide how we show up. So to intentionally have your energy, it has to start with that awareness that you control how you show up. Every situation, every day, every interaction, it starts with total accountability and awareness for your own energy.
Love it. That's great. Awesome. Fantastic. Yeah, no doubt about it. And again, I know we're in a world where it's energy focused, right? We're talking about energy drinks, but I think that your personality incredibly important. And even as an introvert, you can bring on the energy for sure. So let's keep the ball rolling. So I want to talk a little bit about practice, right? And I heard this said, right? Practice makes perfect. No, perfect practice makes perfect, right? And there's many ways we can go with the word practice, right? It's funny. I think doctors have a practice, which means what? You're trying to get good at it? What does that mean? No. Anyway. But let's talk about practice here. So why do you believe positivity is a discipline instead of just personality traits?
Yeah, it is a practice, right? How would you get better at anything? You practice it. And, it's a discipline and a practice because you have to stick with it. You can have an amazing day and hopefully, luckily, you still get to wake up tomorrow and do it all over again. Or you can have a terrible day and luckily, hopefully, you still wake up and do it again. And so it really is practice. All we have is how we show up every day, every interaction with ourselves and with other people. And so when we change our view of positivity as like, oh, I'm not a positive person. Okay, well, have you practiced it? Like, you could say, I'm not good at playing tennis. Well, okay, if you haven't practiced it, then you're not good at it. It's the same with positivity. It is a practice, not a personality trait. So team positive, we look at it just like physical fitness, right? Reps mean results. If you show up every day and you do positive things, you will be a positive person. And that's the discipline.
I love that. I heard it said, one of my mentors said to a group of us, it's how you wake up. It's you make a decision to be, you wake up in the action mode, you wake up positive, you could decide to be positive. You know, your attitude is a decision. It's not necessarily, you know, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it. Right. And all of that is decision. And like you said, a practice. I love that for sure. Yeah. You know, one of the things that I realized is building momentum for me has been, you know, through constant repetition, you know, doing things, you know, over and over again. And, you know, I like to talk about in my book, I talk about the secret of the corn, right? The law of sowing and reaping. You sow, you pour in seed, and then it takes a while, but then when you get that harvest, it's a lot more, right? The seed of corn, it's a stalk with multiple ears of corn, so thousands of kernels, but it builds, right? So I want to talk about momentum. So community, type in hashtag momentum, and way to go, guys, getting in the comments. So keep that going, but get in the comments, momentum. So here's a question for you, Sass, right? So what are some simple daily reps people could do to create positive momentum?
Yeah. So love that idea with the corn. It's so true. And I think nowadays, most of us necessarily, maybe we aren't negative, but we are on autopilot, right? We're on our screens. We go from this to that. We're in our heads. We're solving on problems. We're so busy. You're thinking about the kids' practice, what you're making for dinner, that email you need to send. And so the first step to building momentum is rocking yourself out of that autopilot, right? Just taking that off and plugging into the present moment, which is all we have, right? There's no future, there's no past, there's only right now. So to build that momentum is radical accountability for your actions, your energy, your attitude. Plug into the present moment and then do the reps. Listen, we all know what to do, right? Take a walk, drink water, talk to people, text a friend, but you have to do it in such a way that it's fun. That's why we do stuff that is gamified. You get positivity points, right? Ways to kind of, you know, start this with yourself. And so you have these little wins and then that momentum, you feel good. You want to do more. So then you feel better and then you do more. And before you know it, you are just cruising, you know, and your positivity muscle is, you know, it's flexing all day long.
That's great. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love the gamification, right? And, you know, even creating for yourself, like you said, like a little checklist, or maybe it's a virtual digital thing, right? Just, or I like to use Google Docs where I could kind of check off, I've done this, this, and this. It just makes you feel good and just want to keep you going. Now, obviously that works really well for us that are task driven, which I am. But even people that aren't, you could adapt as well, for sure. Now, you mentioned before, I mean, we're on the Master Connector show, so it's all about connection. You mentioned connection before. So community, type in hashtag connection. I want to kind of touch on that a little bit. So why do relationships and community amplify success more than talent alone?
Sure. Right. We are in a loneliness epidemic. We are more connected than ever on our screens, our phones, our socials, and yet we feel more isolated. And really that individual connection is what replenishes us, what gives us energy. And our energy is contagious. You and me having a good interaction, you know, the audience here, research shows that goes up to 2 degrees. And so if you and I have a positive interaction, not just only do you benefit, but 2 more degrees, right? 2 more people in your life will benefit from that positive energy. The research truly shows that it ripples. And so having those connections, making sure we have those, not just with our team, but with the cashier in line, right? Making eye contact, saying hello, putting the phone down, right? Those connections, it really ripples out. And then when people feel seen, there is so much more buy-in and trust. And all of that is just what we need to achieve our big goals and reach our big projects.
Yeah, I just want to affirm what you're just saying, because I had learned this a long time ago, Sass, actually with my kids first. And, you know, we get so busy, and you're saying, you know, put the phone down. And this was actually even before everybody had cell phones. My kids were little. but I'd be busy doing other things. And when they would come, I'd be like doing my thing while listening to them, but not looking at them. And I heard a story one day. Somebody said, their child came to them and they were in the same situation. And the dad was busy doing his thing, not looking at the child, but going, like guessing. And the child said, "No, daddy, look at me with your eyes." And I heard that story and it made a lot of sense. So in dealing with kids or people, if you want to give somebody your time and you're willing to, you've got to give them all the moments in there. So that does mean put down the phone, turn towards them, give them your full attention. Don't be doing other things like opening mail. It's giving that because that's where the connection is or isn't. So I love that you said that. Put the phone down, everybody, okay?
Love it.
Not right now during the broadcast, but later when you're talking to people.
Yeah. Well, unless you're on your computer, then put the phone down, okay? For sure. But no, I agree. And I was in a 2-day cohort on speaking, a company called Heroic Public Speaking Great. And they literally, there was zero technology during these 2 days. Like nobody was on their phones. They didn't have PowerPoint. And we built the most incredible connections. It was the most safe, positive environment I'd ever felt in a very long time because we were present. It was not like we weren't distracted. So important. And I also heard a story about how babies, infants, when left alone and no attention, they would die. So we need, as humans, we need connection. We need attention for sure. So important. Well, let's keep the ball rolling. This is great. And Rush Head says, yes, intentional focus. I appreciate that. And he's affirming it. So good, Sass. So there you go. All right. So let's talk about balance, right? So to me, I hear that a lot. There's two sides of it. I'm listening to a Grant Cardone book right now on I forget, being radical, or I forget what it's called. I just picked it up, started listening to it today. But it's literally about not being in balance in success. But there's also people that talk about you have to be balanced. So let's talk about it. So hashtag balance community. So what's your take on this? How can high achievers avoid burnout while still protecting their energy?
Sure. I think it's important to understand we all have different flavors and temperaments. And through all the work that I've done, it's important to not try to change your flavor. Steve, you've talked about being a natural introvert, right? It's not about changing who you are, changing your color, your flavor, your personality, but finding ways that work with you and align with your energies and your strengths and still allow you to achieve your ends. And so for high achievers, right, most of us would not be happy if I said, go sit for 8 hours and do nothing, right? Like that would actually maybe cause more anxiety. I know for me it does. I like to stay in motion. And so there's finding a balance that works for you with what your natural tendencies are, and really bringing it back to, are we giving from a full cup? You always hear that saying about you can't pour from an empty cup. And I challenge that because most of us fill our cup just enough to give it away and just enough to give it away. But the true way to give with having balance without burning out is to give from an overflow, an abundance, right? To have so much positivity, life satisfaction, gratitude, right? All of that, to have so much of that it naturally pours out and shares with other people. And so I would say, do all these practices. There's certainly more, that I share that build you up in such a way. And so you're never playing this game of like fill up, pour out, fill up, pour out, but just filling your own cup, taking care of your health, your connections, your family, whatever gives you life, filling it up so much that you just naturally can't help but spill it into other people.
So, you kind of touched on what I was going to ask you, Sass, and that is, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there, because I know this was me some time ago. When you say fill your own cup, I know people that are constantly serving others and they burn out. They get exhausted. They almost have a breakdown.
Sure.
So how does a person figure out what does fill their cup if they're constantly in motion?
Yeah. And that's, we talk about being, task oriented people, high achievers, right? We are giving because we want to be helpful. We want to share with the world. But like that old saying, if you don't put your own oxygen mask on first, you are no good for anyone else. So if you truly want to make a difference, you need to take care of yourself first. And this is a hard lesson. I came up through healthcare. I see a lot of burnout in healthcare, people who just give and give and give. And so some of that is taking a step back and finding those boundaries, right? Protecting your energy, protecting your space, not to be selfish or to be self-centered or to, right, be cold to other people. But if you don't take care of yourself, you will burn out. And so I suggest taking some time. There's lots of positivity practices. What are the things that appeal to you that truly make you exhale and have a sense of joy and wonder and just relief at being alive, and doubling down on those things and making sure you keep them. So even when you're busy, even when the kids have practice, the project is due, your mom's in the hospital, you still take care of your health, you still take care of your boundaries, you still do the things that make you happy, even while you're giving away so much, because that's the only way to keep it sustainable.
I love that. And it looks like Kim has some interesting here, and I want you to expand on this if you don't mind, because I agree. Also, organizing your day around your energy prevents burnout. I found that I have much more energy in the beginning of the day than I do at the latter part of the day. So I try to do a lot of my stuff that I got to get done in the day. But I'm curious your perspective on what Kim is saying here. He likes to be called Kim, from what I've been told.
Yeah, that's a great perspective. And again, that self-awareness is so key, right? A lot of people that I work with, right, we work out early in the morning. We do those things early in the morning because by the end of the day, right, we use it all up. And so I would just say, if that's the practice that works, front load a lot. But in the evening, then make sure you're giving yourself something restorative, because to be so for real, sitting on your phone and zoning out, watching TV and scrolling is not actually a restorative practice, right? That's not actually making you feel better. It might seem like you're relaxing, but you're not, right? So in the evening, when you're feeling maybe a little burnt out, you gave a lot, what are the things, maybe in a calmer, quieter way, that restore you? Maybe it's sitting outside on the porch looking outside, or maybe it's having a cup of tea with your loved one. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's doing some arts or crafts or something, creative. But find ways to make sure that you fill that cup in the evening that aren't doing and are more being, right? Just be there. Enjoy the gratitude of having that great day, of getting stuff done, of feeling good. Really milk that in the evening and then keep that daily cadence.
Yeah, I'm going to say that has worked for me and my wife. My wife and I both run businesses out of our home, and we're both homebodies. So we don't ever have to leave the house, and we could be happy, but it's also a double-edged sword. So we do come together at the end of the day, and we will take walks, sometimes middle of the day, a nice long walk, and just be with one another. Listen. I do this particularly on my own too. Sometimes I'll just walk my yard and just listen to the birds, hear the wind through the trees. And it sounds like really woo-woo, and I'm not that kind of guy. But honestly, just walking on the ground, and if you could do that even in bare feet, there's that earthing component to just getting in contact with you and yourself in the moment, where you can really recharge yourself. And for those of us that really like to go, like the three of us do, that actually really works. If you're out there going, I don't have time for that, it's important to make time for that for sure.
That's huge. I am, we live right in front of the water, and I love the spot, but I need to do more of that at the end of the day, because I am guilty of binge watching at the end of the day, just to kind of unplug. And although I do enjoy it, I agree with you. It's not great for the soul. It may be great from an energy perspective, but not necessarily the ideal. Let's keep this rolling. This is phenomenal. So I want to talk about something, because to me, big part of the show, our mission of our show is to be the light. That's my personal mission: be the light, uplift, inspire, encourage. And that light starts with a spark, right? So I want to talk about community. Type in #spark. So what's one small shift someone can make today? Here's our call to action, right? A CTA that can make today, to instantly become more magnetic and positive.
I think harkening back to the theme of the show, which is connection, which is get curious about the people you meet. Worry less about people liking you and think a lot more about liking them, about finding something, right? Research shows that the people who are most likable like other people. It's not so much our personality, but just by putting out that energy of like, I'm curious, right? Every person, I like thinking about like the show, right? What's going on in the Steve show today and the Rob show today, right? Just truly seeing someone and being curious, open to their perspective, not wanting to, share yours or, hey, I did this, but just being curious and open to someone to get to know what's going on a little bit in their mind. I mean, that can just change so much. You will just see their face light up to finally be seen. It can be the cashier at the grocery store. Rob, to your point, I still have a shorty, right? When I lean down and just talk to her about her day, what's important to her, which to me sometimes, like, I don't get glitter dumplings, but it's a big deal to her. So let's talk about glitter dumplings, right? Like, just seeing someone and meeting them where they're at it is, especially in our world full of screens and isolation, just being open and wanting to learn, wanting to know someone, even for a moment, is a great way to be the light right now.
I love that. That's great. Yeah. And I'm going to have to Google or go on chat about glitter dumplings. I have not a clue what that is. So it sounds cool though, but no, for sure. That's great. So we're winding down the show. I want to just throw it at you to see if you have any final remarks, any final thoughts, closing thoughts, that to leave our community with.
Yeah, so really excited. We had an event series last year locally here in St. Pete. So if you're local, keep your eyes on that. But Team Positive is rolling out lifestyle gear and merch. It's been the #1 requested item from the beginning. And so we will be starting a new launch for branded gear for positive people to identify with that positive lifestyle, show the world, be the light. There's going to be a sign up that Rob's going to share, and there's room for everyone on Team Positive. Come rain or shine, we got to play for Team Positive.
So it's awesome. That's great. I appreciate it. And what's best way for people to reach you? Talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. I am on LinkedIn at Sass Schaeffer. I'm also very active on Instagram. That's Sass_Schaeffer. Schaeffer has all the letters. So those are two ways, LinkedIn or Instagram, to find content, get in touch, collabs, anything I can do to support people. I am more than happy to be here. As a way to share my own light as head coach of Team Positive.
It's awesome. Well, we really appreciate you coming on here. Thanks for being patient, because I know it took a little while to get on here with you, but just so blessed to have you on here with us. So keep shining your light, keep being a great blessing to the world, and we'll see you soon. All right.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, everyone.
All righty. Appreciate you. All right. Fantastic. Wow. All right. Well, next week, May 27th, by the way, I have an incredible Memorial Day weekend. Remember what the weekend is about. It's not about smashing beer cans on your head and drinking beers and, hot dogs and hamburgers. Yeah, you should have fun, but it's about remembering the folks that served and sacrificed, right? But enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. But next week on the 27th, we'll be going in we'll have Ashley Stahl with Going Viral by Being You. It's going to be a great show. She's got some really cool energy as well. You want to learn more about some of the up-and-coming shows, go to masterconnector.show. That's always your best bet if you're having a tough time finding how to get live here. Sometimes it comes up randomly on LinkedIn. So always go to masterconnector.show, and then we always have today's show live, the live link. We just click right there. You can get that. And if you want to learn how to be a sponsor, you can go to the same masterconnector.show and also see what it takes to be a guest. We're pretty discerning with that, so it takes a lot, but definitely you can learn about that as well. And hey, Rob mentioned some of the things I'm doing. What you need to do is check out Rob's book, Don't Fear the Brand. Amazing book. Not just about brand, but he tells the story. He's got a great blend of great nuggets on building your brand, but also on telling your story and bringing and really connecting with the person that's reading the book. I'm hoping that one day it's going to be done on Audible. We'll see. I got to keep pushing Rob on that one, but Rob, I think, would do a great job if he narrated his book on Audible. But anyway, I want to close with a quick story, as I always do. And you guys may know this gentleman here, but before becoming one of the most beloved entertainers in the world, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was cut from the Canadian Football League with only $7 in his pocket and no clear direction forward. Instead of letting rejection define him, he leaned into relentless positive discipline, connection, and consistency. Built a global brand rooted in energy, encouragement, and authenticity. You know, folks, let's let his journey remind us that the energy you bring into the world matters. And when you choose positivity with intention, you could be a beacon of light that inspires others to rise alongside you. Once again, folks, let's remember to shine our light. God bless. We'll see you next week.
Then you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes,
because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives you.